Okay, here's the controller for my shift motor on my 1999 Ranger. Um, I've got a switch here, power switch, to cut power on and off to the lights, and also the power that goes to the motor. This is a reversing switch here. It will send in the center, it's off. One way it sends the motor one direction, the other way it sends it the other. Um, in this direction, I believe we're going to the lower gears from 2 high. 2 high would be this way, 4 low, and 4 high is this way. And it's a little more difficult to get into 4 high than the other gears. Of course, the other gears you can just go either way, but going into 4 high, you have to bump into it, and pushing, it makes it easier than pulling on this thing, I've noticed. So that's the way I've set it up. This, again, the power switch here can be cut off, and that way I figured nothing could inadvertently hit this and cause problems. So something you have to actually, both switches have to be dealt with to get the system to come on. All right, so here's my shift motor, and the harness here goes through the floor of the Ranger right here, and sticks over near the front seat support. There is this plug. This plug actually has a tab on it with a plastic peg that sticks through a hole on the seat support, and it holds it there. So I took this part from a Ranger in the junkyard, and I just reached under the seat, unsnapped it, and took the wires, these wires that came along the door seal from under the seat, and then up the to behind the dash. And so as far as I could, I followed those wires and cut them off. And that's giving me a way to plug into this plug from my shift motor, bring it into my control panel here, and send power to my motor, reverse it. And these lights are hooked to the position wires here. I have a brown wire, which is for the clutch in the transfer case. I'm not going to use the brown wire. I'm going to cap it off, and that's for shift on the fly. So I'm just going to have to stop and put my vehicle in the 4 high, 4 low, or 2-wheel high, because I can't imagine myself trying to bump this thing on the fly and get it into position. Okay, the thicker solid orange and the thicker solid yellow wires come into the reversing switch here and leave going to the motor, and depending on which direction the polarity is, just depends on which way you push it. One way it'll send the motor one way, the other direction it'll send the motor the other way. Okay, the lights here are hooked onto the position wires. The first one I have hooked to brown and white, and the next light is orange and white. The next light is hooked to the white wire, and the next light is hooked to the violet wire. The yellow and white wire I'm using as power, so I've tapped off this switch on the switched side, so that when the switch is on, then power will go to all of these lights. Power will go to yellow and white, and then yellow and white is feeding these lights, and I just have to take the other side of these lights and send them to a neutral. And that neutral is tapped off from the motor switch where the neutral comes in, and I've tapped off there to make a neutral for my lights. Okay, now a demonstration. Here's the graph that I put on my first video that shows when I hook the lights up in this way, which lights are on in which positions. And again, while it's easy to find 2 high or 4 low, you could stop and listen for the motor. This way allows you to tell when you're just there. You don't have to jam the motor necessarily. You've got some idea. And getting them to 4 high, of course, is the trick. This gives you a pretty good shot of getting in there, and like I say, I'll demonstrate. Okay, so here I'm looking at uh, 2 lights in one, and I'm not sure really where my motor is. Let's go on back and start from 2 high. Okay, right now I have, wish it were darker here, I have 1 light. That's 2 high. Just before this 1 light comes on, it'll be green and blue. And that's okay. If you look at your motor right now, there's 2 high, and I'm lined up, so that's good. Okay, even if the green and the blue light, which that comes on going just before this one, and this one, if you just jam it up, that's what you get. I like to have the blue and the green light. If I get that, I'm okay. And just before that is a blue, a red, and a green. Need to go a little bit more. Okay, so let's go back. Let's go on towards 2-wheel high, or 4-wheel high. Okay, I'll bump. Okay, I'm bumping in the wrong direction. The light stays on. Okay, there you go. Now I've got these 2, and the red light's not on. We'll keep that state almost to 4-wheel drive high. And just before 4-wheel drive high, this light will go out. And then the next bump or so, this light will come on. As I'm going up, I don't like for this light to go out, because if I stop and this light goes out, that means that I'm so close with my next bump, I may go a little too far. Now, the red light wouldn't change, everything would stay the same, but I'm too far. So if this light goes out, before I get this red light to come on, when this light goes out, this one should immediately come on. And if it goes out and this doesn't come on, I'm a little too close, and I want to back up. So let's try. We'll come in real quick. Okay. Now I've got what? Oh, I went the wrong way. Okay, there you go. And now I'm in 2-wheel drive, but 4-wheel high, or at least this is the signal. I'm not real sure though. Like I say, this is kind of an art. Um, I may have went too far. That's always a fear, and because I kind of lost my bearings there for a minute since I've reversed this switch. It's because I wanted to be able to get into this 4 high. But let's look and see what we've got. Like I say, I could be 4 high. I could have went a little too far, because when I get to 4 high here, we keep the same state all the way around. So let's look. Well, I'm right on it. So I would have been okay. Better to be safe than sorry. I'm going to back up like I would have done and try again. And be okay. Now I've got these 2 lights and this one has come in. That was a good little short click. That was a good little short click. And I'm there. This light went out. This came on. And so I should be dead on 4-wheel high. Let's take a look and see what we got. Not too good.